What up? Wade here. Welcome back to the Wade Alter Show. So today what I want to get into is a specific type of business model. I'm calling it the guru model. And it's applying things that I've learned from companies across the board. Everything from digital marketer to Tony Robbins to NLP and Richard Bandler to Dan Kennedy, and applying this to chiropractors, to coaches and consultants. What I want to get into today is the best model for scaling your company fast, getting high profit margins, being able to create multiple revenue streams, but on top of that, have unlimited traffic coming in for free. Unlimited leads coming in where you can just ratchet up. If you want that in your business, then maybe the guru model is right for you. It all started actually one of my biggest business mistakes, I think still to this day, is my first product launch when I sold 1,000 units of this course, and I sold it at $69 because I modeled some product on ClickBank and said, okay, let's model what it seems to be working. And it ended up being a huge failure. Well, it wasn't. I mean, it actually was a massive success, but I could have just as easily charged $197 or $297, just changed the price, did everything else exactly the same, and probably would have gotten better results, probably would have sold more units. People kind of said it almost seems too cheap. And on top of that, they would have put more value towards it, would have applied it more, and I would have gotten more success stories because of that. And also I know for a fact, because I had a good friend, Julian, he was kind of doing a similar model, and I told him, change the price, do the exact same thing I did, but instead charge $197. And he sold exactly 1,000 units too, like within a plus or minus 5 or 10 units. And so easily that's what, I don't even want to know how much money was lost from doing something like that. So at least I could make the mistake and help him out and help everyone else out because of that. But what I didn't realize is that there was this whole system behind the scenes of upsells and monthly memberships and things like that. So that didn't matter. So it was basically they were losing money on the front end because the back end was so profitable, it allowed them to do that. And so I'm sure if you've been in business for any length of time, you've heard of the concept of the upsell, where you have a business like McDonald's, where they go from, if you sell just a cheeseburger, they make 10 cents on that, $1 or whatever the price of a cheeseburger is. But if you add fries and a Coke, the multiples of what that does, it leads to them, they pay you, it's $3 or $4, but they're making a pure dollar in profit. So they're 10xing their profit by adding on that little upsell. And so you can apply the same principle in your own business, of course. And there's multiple ways to do that. I think in the internet marketing scene, that's pretty obvious, where you have high ticket consulting or coaching or monthly membership or something with, a more done with you service or a done for you service where it's even at a higher price point. And that's kind of getting into what this model is, where I really look at my business, and I do this a lot of times for clients, is like separating things almost into two distinct entities. To where you have the high ticket coaching or consulting side of things, whether that's retreats, whether that's, done for you sort of things like creating a website or creating an application or something like that on the very high end of things. And separating that almost completely from the other business of creating free content, digital product sales, stuff like that. Because when you kind of put them together, it can muddy the water and go, what is the thing I need to be working on right now? And so the way you need to look at it is probably, I guess, another big business mistake that I made along the way is that I tried to go, okay, when I started over from scratch, blew up my old brand, and I'm starting to build a business, I'm modeling successful companies that have these super long sales funnels and they have a shitload of traffic. So they can start with like a little $7 offer and scale that up. And because of economies of scale there, lead to that all of a sudden, enough people coming in the high end at the end. And that all of a sudden, they're getting people funneled into their retreats and their masterminds and their coaching programs and things like that. But when you're just starting off, you don't have a huge brand. You don't have a lot of traffic. And so what I always suggest is starting at the top end of the funnel and then working your way backwards. And by top end of the funnel, I mean a high ticket offer in the sort of, $1,500 a month, 3K package, 6K package, 10, 20, 40, 80, something in there where you can really scale the business fast. And you only need one new client a month. There's a good period of time in my own business where I was really just kind of defragging from all the stress of starting things off. And I was getting to a point where I only needed like 4 or 5 applications a month, which was happening on autopilot. And as long as one of those 5 worked out, I only needed one new client coming in. Every so often, one would leave. And it would just lead to slowly building up where I had my chosen 20. It was completely full. And every month, it was just kind of things just worked like clockwork. It was nice. I didn't need a huge team. I didn't need any team. I didn't really need much infrastructure or software or overhead at all. And so if you don't have an offer in that couple $100, couple $1,000 range price points, that's really where you need to start. That's what the whole sales seduction training is all about how to set that process up in a way that, boom, you can start really scaling your business in big $3,000 chunks instead of $30 chunks or $30 an hour or something like that. But then the next issue that people run into is they go, okay, well, how do I get leads? How do I get more clients? And a lot of times when you're starting off and you're getting that sort of escaping velocity, what I see with clients that I've worked with and really who are the most successful is it's a grind. It's a hustle there. And you're going door to door, or you're sending off hundreds of emails and you're putting those videos in there and saying, hey, check out this video. Kind of like social media manager, that seems to be the flavor of the day, is send off a cold email with a link to a video of you breaking down their business and trying to get enough people. And so you really, especially if you're pinpointing, you're recording this video and you're doing a great job with it, specific, custom tailored to them, that's a lot of work to try to get, that one client a month coming in. You're like, man, this is so much work. And if I don't do that, if I stop, all of a sudden it completely dries up. I have no leads and I have no sales coming in. So what do I do? And what you need to do is the same thing I would say to other businesses in this situation. If you're a chiropractor, or if you're a real estate manager, you're managing properties or things like that, or you're a personal trainer or something like that, and you're currently relying on referrals and you're relying on that trickle-in effect of like, oh, hopefully some people, or you're doing classes or something like that, and you're saying, every so often, some people start asking about what I do or something like that, or you're starting to finally put some free content out and hoping that, enough people start seeing it, that, oh, maybe someday if enough people start seeing this and I build a brand, it's going to lead to this trickle-in of clients on the top end. But what you need to realize is that there's a huge gap in the middle here. And that's where the guru model kicks in. And the way that I want you to visualize this is you have this sort of big globular circle on one side. And this is the high ticket coaching, consulting, retreat, mastermind area over here, working with patients, whatever that is for you on the high end. Disconnect that, boop, line in the middle, and this other circle on the other side. And this is an information marketing business. And so the goal of the information marketing business, it's really to be profit neutral. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to create a product and that's the way I'm going to make a lot of money, that's not really where you want to go with this. What you want to do is have it be almost like neutralized completely, where any money that comes into it, any profit that you get, you directly put it back into that, whether that's employees to help you edit videos or edit podcasts, or social media managers to put that shit out there, or advertising is another great example of where you're constantly feeding this beast. You're feeding the fuel. And what happens is you have the one side, the high ticket consulting business, and what that does is the profit you get there, slowly over time, what you're going to do is you're going to feed it into this other business. And looking at that, and every time you just make sure that it keeps staying neutral, because what happens through this process is it leads to you getting free leads. And so in the sort of guru model, the way it works specifically, we talked about the back end. Let's start at the very beginning here. What the guru model ultimately comes down, if you're the guru and you put that sort of authority, high status appeal to you, is by putting barriers for entry from the start to the end of the funnel. So at the start, for free, they get you listened to you on the podcast. Then if all of a sudden they pay $7, maybe you give a little bit more investment. Here's a PDF, or here's like a training with some videos that you can only access if you give me your email. But then I'll give you the full course, maybe with some exercises for $27 or something like that. And then if you want to get on a group call with me, there's going to be a lot of people on the call, but you can throw your questions in and I'll kind of look at them and maybe answer a few of them. You might get your question answered, or you have a bunch of like-minded people to help you out as well in a Facebook group or something like that. That's maybe $47 a month. Then all of a sudden, if you want to have a coach work with you and get that higher level aspect to things, then you can get into the $1,000 range. But then if you want to work with that guru specifically, then it's all of a sudden you're getting into the $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 plus commission sort of range. And so that's the sort of ladders that you want to create in your business. And what I see too often is people confusing the ladder. They're going, okay, I got to create a product and I got to do some coaching and all of a sudden I got to do free content. What about podcasting or YouTube? On top of that, I got to do guest posting. And how do I network with people? And it's just like, what do I do when? When is the right time to do this? When is the right time to do that? And what you need to realize is that all these assets, all your social media profiles, posting on Instagram, putting a post out on Facebook, these are all just traffic sources. This is not a business. Being a YouTuber is not a business. To be successful, you need traffic plus conversion. And so yes, you can kind of be at a stage, if you get enough traffic, you can be like, hey, maybe creating a product is a good thing. But you want to ultimately think, how does this fit into this guru model? Look at the ladder and what rung am I trying to fill? Where do I need to put the pieces in play? And so like I said, for myself early on, I tried to model other businesses and did like the tripwire model. But because I didn't have good high tech, or I had like, the one-on-one coaching, but there was nothing kind of in between there. And because I didn't have a lot of traffic yet and I was still building the brand, I couldn't get enough people through the front end. I was losing money before they got up to the high end. And so it wasn't until I created that connection between, okay, you have this sort of information marketing thing, creating products that really was able to do well enough on its own that you're starting to flesh out more traffic and scale things that way. And then having this sort of connector of products in the middle range where they're kind of done with you, you're able to scale it, either having other assistant coaches, or you have products where, I can do a group call and things like that to then ascend them into the chosen 20 in my high ticket consulting and coaching things and, doing consulting work and stuff like that. And again, probably the best way for me to kind of explain this is just through our own company. And so there's kind of three distinct buckets that we look for. And these are the three distinct buckets that lead them from just starting off, not knowing who we are and not really having much investment at all, to being a part of the chosen 20, which is the top end mastermind one-on-one coaching thing that I got. So on the front end, we have all sorts of things like the habit tracker, and we have networking checklist and things like that, especially on the self-development, lifestyle development side, to just get people to kind of know about the brand. That leads them into just tripwire things, $7, $27, some things in that range, to get them a great experience as a newfound customer and going, oh, these guys are pretty cool. Wade's a pretty cool dude too, I guess. And that gets them as part of the syndicate. And so as a member of the syndicate, then they're getting a little bit more of a connection to me. I'm able to answer their questions in the group as well as my team. I'm able to do a group call every month. And that's, you're paying $50 a month. That's a pretty cool starting point. I'm able to talk to the guy and kind of hopefully get some feedback and all these great courses. And you're wowing them on that level. So I want to take this a step deeper. And from there, there's really two paths, my two penchants, my two passions. Either you go the self-help route, and that would be moving into something like the baseline. And this is one of those connector programs where it leads you into the deep inner game work, where there's exercises, there's opportunities to work with a coach. And so from that place, in the couple $100 range, you're starting to take your investment to the next level and really getting more resources and therefore hopefully a bigger impact in your life. If we go the other direction, that's where I have the sales seduction training. And the sales seduction, that's more if you're on the business side of things and you're just kind of starting off and you want to enhance your business process. If you want to be able to get this high ticket coaching, a lot of, some of the stuff we're talking about today, that wasn't really the goal of this, was to highlight that, but it's really helping you kind of find that connector business and the high ticket offer for yourself. And so that really steers towards a lot of times beginning entrepreneurs, as well as people that, again, aren't ready to kind of commit to, okay, I'm going to pay 10 grand to work with this guy for a year. I need to first see okay, what does he have out there? Let me see some of his chops. And so then those are the two pathways that can lead them through either the baseline or through the sales seduction training into the chosen 20, which is my high level mastermind where we have retreats, we're connecting, we're doing cool things. We have events regularly. They're getting to know each other in a private, VIP group of guys that are just kicking ass. And it's an elite group of people. I limit it to only 20 people, so it's exclusive. And that is, the top thing that I want. That's like my gem. That's the thing that I love, looking forward to the most. But that alone, like I said, in the old days, when I just had that and I was trying to do like a podcast leading into that, it was just such a trickle of people coming in. Whereas now when I'm able to just turn on the ads and go, woo, add the jet fuel to the front end of this thing, you're just fueling people in and you're offering value. You're able to spread your message so much farther. And through that, it just leads to at every stage getting satisfied people. And the results that they are getting is ascending them naturally because you're giving them what they need to hit the next level and therefore want to become a part of the next thing. And another thing that this does too is for your fans, your customers, your prospects, it gets them to see what's on the next ladder rung. And so all of a sudden they have these sort of goals. I remember for myself, I still have it. Like maybe by the time you listen to this podcast, I've done it. But I want to be a part of Dan Kennedy's 40K Titanium Mastermind where you get to hang out with Dan and his people. And it's sort of fun and stuff like that. I don't even know what's part of it, but I'm like, I want to do it. Dan's like the father I never had. And I've had certain goals in my business directly related to, okay, part of my vision of what I want is to be a part of that group. And so he's done the same thing for me related to, I see that tier, that rung on the ladder, and I'm saving and I'm building it in a way so I can actually do that specifically. And so the best part of this for my vision is that I want to impact people on every level. And so I can work with the high level, multi-6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneur on the top end, but I can also help out the guy that's just starting off or the self-help junkie like myself on that side of things, really give them the value that they want. And even really at the basic level, just help out somebody like build a morning routine. Or even if we go even further than that, the free content then leads into all this stuff. And that's where it really funnels in nicely. And so, of course, it's called the guru model for a reason, because if you're a guru, if you're an influencer, if you're in that space, It's really easy to see how you could apply this. But I'm saying for any business, if you're a chiropractor, have your chiropractic practice. Ideally, at some point, you're going to have other chiropractors helping you out because you're going to have so many leads. But then latch on top of that, this information marketing business, or maybe you're helping people with back pain, and maybe you're creating little products and stuff like that, where all you're doing that is fueling people into the next tier stuff. And then once you get that successful, create another thing of how to help other chiropractors market their businesses. And then you have this whole other sort of business here that's, like I said, the information marketing business, that thing in its entity of itself, then leads people into the next thing. Or I have a recent new client who does property management consulting. So he's got a couple different properties he's managing. He's trying to scale that, but he's really spread thin. If he's able to do that successfully, which he already is, I'm like, dude, on top of that, why don't you create information about for people that want to have their property rented out? And you can teach them things and become the expert in that field. And like I said, it's not about, oh, you can make money from a product or something like that. You use whatever money is made to scale that in even more to where you have so many endless people that want to work with you that you can either raise your prices or you can find an employee to help you to delegate that effectively. And so that way you can leverage yourself more effectively, which leverage equals more profit equals a better quality of life. And finally, when I found out about this model for the first time, it was probably half a decade ago, and it's taken me up till now to really build it out where I'm very proud of what it looks like and how it's finally like this system or this machine that I'm able, all the parts are working properly. And at the start, that's not going to be the case. But what I want to kind of give you is if you're starting this process out, start on the very top of the rung, the top rung, and go, okay, I just need to hustle and grind and start getting people in. And then as you're starting to get more revenue coming in, you're getting more sales, make sure to take some of that profit and slowly start trickling it into the front end of how can I build some of these traffic assets, whether it is social media or YouTube or podcasting or things like that. And kind of, building maybe just like a meetup, even if it's something more locally. And you start building a brand on that thing and don't even worry about it. Like you're going to be losing money. Just like throw it away and build that asset up. And if you do that after a few years, you're never going to have to worry about leads again. And even better, if it really starts flourishing, you can use that to do all those cool things, like do a little epic product launch once a year and make a quick 200 grand or something like that. Or my favorite story of John Lennon where he talks about, let's write us a swimming pool. And so instead of him thinking he had to buy the swimming pool, he just wrote another song and, John Lennon from the Beatles, and that led to him getting the swimming pool. I did the same thing when I came out here to Santa Monica. I was like, rent is twice as much, but I'm not going to pay twice as much. I'm going to create something where I can add more value to my customers and my fans and my clients. And through that process, they were the ones who subsidized the lifestyle because I was able to just create another value stream, i.e. income stream. And it's just such a great win-win when you have that sort of guru model in place. And so if you're listening to this and actually you're like, man, I would like a little help with that. Hey, I'm here for you. Let me know. My email is wade@wadealters.com. I'm very accessible. If you're interested in something like coaching, being a part of the Chosen 20, it's full, but the first step would be an application. Having me get to know you a little bit, or if it's something more in the middle of the ladder there, if you're on the middle rung, like I said, feel free to reach out to me anytime. It's just wade@wadealters.com, or feedback about anything on the podcast. I love getting feedback. I love hearing what you liked, what you'd like to hear more about, what you hated, and that could the haters too. I love the haters. Come at me, tell me what you got, and as always, enjoy.